Next is modern approach or modern classification of accounts. We are following modern classification of accounts. Under modern classification of accounts, accounts are divided into asset accounts, liability accounts, capital accounts, revenue accounts, and expenses accounts. Asset accounts, liability accounts, capital accounts, revenue accounts, and expenses accounts. First is asset accounts. What is asset? Assets are the economic resources of an organization. So, assets accounts are those accounts which relate to the economic resources of an enterprise. Example, land, building, plant, machinery, bank, cash, etc. Rule of debit and credit for asset accounts. Debit the increases and credit the decreases. Debit the increases and credit the decreases. Next, liability accounts. Liabilities are the obligations of the business organization. Liability accounts are accounts of lenders, creditors, outstanding expenses, etc. Rule of debit and credit. Debit the decreases and credit the increases. What is the rule of asset account? Debit the increases and credit the decreases. Rule of liabilities. Debit the decreases and credit the increases. Next, capital accounts. What is capital? Capital is the amount invested by the owner in the business organization. So, these capital accounts are accounts of proprietors or owners who have invested in the business. A rule of debit and credit for capital accounts. Debit the decreases and credit the increases. Next, revenue accounts. These are accounts of incomes and gains. Examples, sales, interest received, commission received, etc. Rule of debit and credit. Debit the decreases and credit the increases. Next, expenses accounts. These are accounts of expenses or losses incurred in carrying the business. Example, purchases, wages, salaries, rent, etc. Rule of debit and credit. Debit the increases and credit the decreases. Rules of debit and credit under modern approach. Asset increase, debit. Asset decrease, credit. Liability increase, credit. Liability decrease, debit. Capital increase, credit. Capital decrease, debit. Expenses and losses increase, debit. Expenses and losses decrease, credit. Incomes and gains increase, credit. Incomes and gains decrease, debit. Dear students, you have to copy and study these rules. We are following modern classification of accounts, so you need to study only the rules under modern classification. We need these rules for preparing journal entries. So you have to study the rules under modern classification. Thank you.